Well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm focused on a lot of the national issues, but I've talked to a lot of the residents in Pembroke Pines, and I think their biggest concern was property value, but it's also how thin we're going to stretch the fire department and the police department when it's being called. And you know, the city really didn't have a plan. They were just willing to take the taxpayers' money, the federal money that was going to be shifted over to them, and not really address are the needs of the residents being met. So I think that's the big downfall by what the City Commission failed to do at the City of Pembroke Pines, is to really look at not just, hey, look at all this great money we're going to bring to the city, but you know, what are we doing for our residents? Are we truly protecting their home values and the issues of public safety, and will we be able to provide the services to them in the prison?
Now, are you aware that your opponent has gone on, I mean, your Democratic opponent has gone on record with a letter of endorsement, endorsing the facility? And so basically this is sort of at a national level now, because we're in the chairwoman of the DNC and taking a position which probably is very counter to the Democratic Party in terms of building deportation facilities, especially against the will of our constituents. So I don't know, I mean, on that perspective, you know, campaigning, do you have a statement you'd like to make on that?
Well, I think the interesting thing was when the residents started to realize what was happening, I think at that point it was already a done deal. And when it got to her, sadly enough, her answer was, I had no idea my constituents were against this. So that's a sad statement to make. You know, our job when we represent the people is to know what they're thinking and what they're feeling. And I think the fact that she used that as an excuse for not being in touch with the constituents was not good. I mean, our job is to serve the people. So as far as what's happening and what's moving forward with the prison at this time, I'm not really sure. I was told by the board of Southwest Ranches that it's been pretty much done since '05, and these are just the particulars moving forward. So
you know, Jeff Nelson, the mayor, has made that statement repeatedly, but what he's not fessing up to is that although CCA had the property since 1998 and have had a resolution on the books at Southwest Ranches to build a 1,500-bed prison, it's only last year that the concept of an immigration detention center came up on the horizon. But that doesn't require just the building of the prison. It requires the town of Southwest Ranches to sign the
perfect shoes for this to do.
Yeah, thank you.
Smart.
Hope I won't get too hot.
It's a much different story.
Hope I don't get too warm when it gets too hot.
Yeah, you get a little sweaty in the
Yeah.
The town, in the next coming months, is going to have to sign a contract with ICE. So town council will have to authorize the town administrator and the mayor to sign that contract with ICE. So it's not a done deal, because ICE has said themselves that due to all the opposition, that they have not brought forward a contract yet. And they've been saying since last November that they were going to bring forward the contract.
You never found your little dog?
It really is not.
Yes, they did. I just talked to
So
my
the
son
fact that
today.
the Jeff says that it's done, he just means the construction part of it moving forward, but not the deal between the ranches and ICE.
Right, and as you're aware, CCA is the private prison company who would build the facility, and they're not going to build it without a contract.
Correct.
So, you know, if there's no ICE contract, and in fact, CCA will build this facility hoping they would get that right, you know, in terms of the state, the federal, and the county governments come in, but they won't, because there's no financial incentive. So really, it's predicated on the town signing this contract to provide deportation and local services to ICE.
Let's say all
Okay, now how will Southwest Ranches provide deportation help to ICE?
They will contract CCA to do that. But the contract will be between ICE and Southwest Ranches. And then there's another contract that will have to be rewritten between CCA and Southwest Ranches on how they go about doing it. So, you know, so that's part of why it's not a done deal. And you know, Mayor Nelson.
I didn't get her back because he called animal control and they can't pick
So
her
he's
up.
trying to tell people don't bother coming and protesting against it because it's already finished. And I know here in Pembroke Pines, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of the city commissioners that were in support of it are now listening to the people that are now saying, no, I've changed my mind. So,
and you know, another thing you brought up about Pembroke Pines, and I just don't want to confuse the situation either, is that this is an island of land in Southwest Ranches that's owned by Southwest Ranches. That's not, it's bordered by Pembroke Pines and it's bordered by unincorporated Broward County. So there was a fire EMS agreement in place between Pembroke Pines and Southwest Ranches. Pembroke Pines would agree to provide fire, EMS, and water to that prison site, which over the past 2 months was basically rescinded by Pembroke Pines. So at this point, Southwest Ranches does not even have a fire EMS provider for that prison.
Well, then they're not going to meet contractual needs of ICE, the ICE program, which has federal standards in which they're going to have to. So right now it looks like it's all in limbo.
That's right. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but last week, Jody Davison over at Deputy Wasserman Schultz's office was given authorization by ICE to tell her constituents and the mayor and the city manager of Pembroke Pines that the deal was dead.
Oh, yeah.
Really? No, that I'm not aware of.
Within 5 hours, though, there was backtracking taking place, and ICE then issued a formal statement saying that we apologize for any embarrassment we may have caused, but the project is still under consideration.
Okay.
So, so behind the scenes, even though everybody says it's a done deal, there is, in fact, a lot of conservation.
No, I didn't see any pen in there.
That exists.
There's some in the box
Okay.
there.
So,
Well, that's good to know. You're pretty much updated
She wants
me
a
on lot
pen.
of situations
Can you borrow?
because I'm not always in town. I'm out of town a lot. With that, I only hear bits and pieces from customers in my restaurant or individuals like yourself.
Now, what I will say in terms of the public advocate is that here is an issue where in Southwest Ranches, Debbie is the congresswoman for that district, and they're putting in an unwanted ICE detention facility. In Crete, Illinois, which is Obama's hometown, and it's actually the hometown of Jesse Jackson Jr. is the rep out there. He's against the prison, same type of prison going in Crete. So this really is on a national level now. And in fact, there was an immigration reform group out of Southern California that just did a little video, and they've got a petition to Debbie. They've got over 11,000 people on her base who are opposing her.
Well, I haven't seen the numbers. I've talked to a lot of people in Southwest Ranches that truly want the prison put in there. They see the benefits of it. So unless I can see numbers where people are for or opposed, because I hear a lot of people that are tired of the illegal immigrants living in their cities and want to see a facility that will deport them. And
with respect to that, there's been no official polling done by the town, so they can't say that one way or another. But
no, but if you're giving me numbers that you're saying people are adamantly against
that's
it,
on a nationwide level, so I don't want to overstate.
Okay, that's why I want to make sure. I want to know on a local level what the people are thinking.
Okay, so what happened is on November 5th of last year, Southwest Ranches, Pembroke Pines, and ICE got Attorney General Butterworth to moderate an informational meeting over at Southwest Regional Library. And there were approximately 200 people that were allowed entry into the library to hear this, and then they set up speakers outside where they had a couple hundred people out there as well. There were forms that were filled out saying whether you opposed the facility, were neutral on it, or supported it. Out of 333 forms that were submitted, there were only 8 people who said they supported the facility. The balance said that they were, the majority, the huge majority said they were against it, and a few said they were neutral on it.
Well, in fairness to that, people show up when something's already been implemented to oppose it. Most people that are for it don't show up to a hearing to voice their, it's already been, you know what I'm saying? In all fairness to the balance
Other
of...
robocall pollings have indicated similar percentages of 90% of the residents of that area, whether it be Pines or the Ranches, oppose it.
Well, see, that's what I was asking for, good polling information that could really, because what I'm hearing from a lot of the residents in Southwest Ranches in particular, where it's actually going to be built, many of them are in favor of it. So that's why I'm interested to see the overall poll, if you have something that, like I said, our job is to represent the will of the people, and that's what I want to make sure of what the majority of the people
Also, if you go out and you look at just the polling of the lawn signs that are out in the west and starting to populate the east of Southwest Ranches, you will see some streets where the entire street is covered with signs that say no prison. So if you drive down 188, 186, 203, 205, all the way out west, right around the epicenter of the prison, you will see the majority of homeowners have signs that say no prison.
Now, just correct me too. I mean, are we calling it a prison or is it a detention facility?
If you look at the definition of a prison, the detention center is also synonymous with prison.
I mean, aren't they only at this point holding them for 2 weeks?
No,
Where are we at with the
no.
contract?
Gary Mead, from the Director of Enforcement and Removal at ICE, when he was at his November 5th meeting, said that typically the average stay is 27 days. However, at a recent town council meeting, CCA is reporting that it's up to 9
Yeah, I'm
days.
tasting this, but I don't know
Now, are
if
these
it's video. I don't know if the
non-criminals
voice
that are in violation
is
of immigration status?
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
don't know
It's,
if the voice is.
the facility itself is going to have 3 levels of security, low, medium, and high levels of security. So what that means is I believe that the majority of detainees are going to be of non-criminal nature. However, through secure communities, they were picked up by some local law enforcement for committing some crime or being in violation of some law, which prioritized them upward for deportation. So they're there. However, there are cases like there was a gentleman from Haiti who just committed 3 murders out in North Miami Beach, who was a detainee at Chrome Ave. He had just served a 5-year sentence, I believe it was for armed robbery up in one of the North Florida counties. They released him for deportation to ICE, but the earthquake in Haiti hit, so then they had to release him because they could not deport him because Obama put a moratorium on all deportations.
Right, I remember
So
that.
he left and he went on to kill 3 people in North Miami.
Right.
So there are cases, and this facility, as required by ICE, is going to have a high security component to it, which will be used for those people who have committed felonies, perhaps served their time, and are waiting deportation, who most likely would not want to be deported.
What do they mean by
So are you assuming that they would have moved him to that facility in Southwest?
All we know is what the ICE statement of objectives or the specifications on the prison require.
I'll do it.
And they require that there be a high security lockdown component.
Okay, so but we don't know at this point if he would have been transported to that facility.
We don't know who's going to be transported to that facility at all, actually. You know, because I've talked with actually some of the officials down in Chrome Ave, and they don't know whether their detainees are going to be moved up to Southwest Ranches, whether that site's going to be shut down. So I think even the people at ICE don't understand, you know, what really is going to go on at Southwest Ranches.
And which city are you a resident
Southwest
in?
Ranches.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, if you have any issues with any of this video being made public, tell me. I'll tell you.
No, I didn't realize I was being videoed.
Sorry, I know you are my wife, but I figured you were talking very sort of broadly. So, you know, I would like to.
No, if I'm not someone who sits there and I can read all the rules and the laws of who gets transferred and who doesn't and exactly what the facility does, I've only listened to basically what the residents have had to say about the issue.
And what is your observations on sort of the rough percentages that are for and against the facility based on who you've talked to?
Basically, the people I've talked with in both Southwest Ranches and Pembroke Pines, probably about 50-50.
Really?
Yeah, really it is. Because I think a lot of them, they understand too that the women's prison out there is a maximum security prison.
Which is closed.
Which is closing.
2 weeks.
Yes. And they realize that they don't think that devalued their property or in any way or made their neighborhoods less safe. And now that that's closing, they look at the CCA facility as being even less of an issue than a high security female women's prison.
Really?
So
I
many
mean,
of them
are you aware that this prison was originally, or the immigration detention facility was originally slated for 2,200 beds, whereas the women's facility is only around 631 right now.
And that's
so it's almost 4 times larger.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure that people are even considering
I
the impact of that.
There's
No,
the
but I think a
address.
lot of people are concerned about jobs in America, and they want to see illegal immigrants processed in some way, shape, or form. Those that are for it, those are the arguments that I'm hearing, that, you know, we can't be against illegal immigration and then not want to create a facility in which to process and deport them.
Are you aware that Laguna Isles, which would be your constituency,
Yes,
is
and I know several people who live there.
1,000 feet from the border of this facility, which is 2/10
And I've
of a
met
mile.
some people there that are for it and some that are against.
I'd like to know who's for it, because we canvass monthly.
Right.
We don't see any of that. We
Right.
see very little support. We believe that there is only outspoken support in terms of maybe 5 or 6%.
I think, like I said,
the other thing is that West Broward High School is exactly 1.25 miles from the proposed entrance of this facility, and I'm not sure that with cities like Belle Glade, who want this, or Florida City, who want it, that it's appropriate to put it right in the heart of a vibrant community.
well, Bill, obviously you know all of the issues surrounding even more so than I do of other locations and what people want. So I think it has to, you know, really be looked at without making a judgment on a broad perspective of all those issues we just discussed.
Right, and part of that is getting a contract So if we don't have the contract, we don't really know what their plans are. So I would caution taking an opinion on its impact with the fact that we don't even know what its impact is because we don't have a contract. And so for the mayor of Southwest Ranches to outright say that it's a done deal when he knows very well there are 2 contracts that are needed to complete this that need to be approved by 5 people on the council, and also that even the most ardent proponents, and this is all part of the public record because it's all recorded at Southwest Ranches Town Hall meetings, even the preponderance of the councilors say that if it is not financially good for the town, we are not going to approve it, which flies in the face of what Mayor Nelson is saying as far as the So I would ask, Joe Kaufman has come out vehemently against the prison. Joe Goldner, when he was in this district and decided not to run against LC in the new redistricting, came out strongly against it. We have not had an official statement from you, nor have we had an official statement from Ozzy as well on your position on the prison.
Well, you've enlightened me to a lot of things that honestly I will take the time to look at all of them. And like I said, most of it has been in conjunction with residents, people that I know that live in both cities that are for and against it. But you've brought to light a couple of things that I'm not aware of, so I'll do my due diligence, and then I'll be able to provide you with an exact position.
Okay, good, very good. And if you need, access to any of the other sort of Pembroke Pines residents or whatever, both pro and con.
Right, and you can always send me any links to me personally.
What's the best way to reach you?
I'm at Karen at Karen.
I've already paid my $30.
That's the one that's on your website, right?
Yes, right now I'm still allowed to read all my emails until they take them away from me. So what happens is I get over flooded, and then I just have a girl in my office.
Hi.
Sort of like your chief of staff who screens everything.
Actually, here, I'll give you my personal.
Okay, thank you very much.